All right. So we're going to be doing something a little different today. So we're going to be talking about art school and what are some of the reasons that you should go versus you shouldn't. While I work on a project that's not exactly safe for work. For those of you tuning in to YouTube, how you doing? I am a professional artist. I do freelance work. I stream. Check me out at Twitch, which is where this is being streamed right now. Yeah, it's Twitch/schonhoffart. I'll have links in the description. And without further adu, let's just get into it. One of the major reasons to go to art school is networking. So you find people, you make friends with people who are in different areas of life. You can find, if you're going for animation like I did, you can find people who are in graphic design who can help you make business cards, and you can find people who are in industrial design for, I don't know, like various reasons. Fashion design is also a really good one if you're going for character creation or anything similar to that. They're just good to have in your pocket, just to get some advice from other people. And yeah, because that can help really boost the way your characters look. So what if I can't draw but have an idea for a character look? How do you think I should describe it to somebody? Okay, so you have an idea for a character and you can't draw. If you're trying to describe it, the best way to do it is, make sure that the person knows the, whatever gender or the gender identity or what have you is an important one, so that way they know what direction to go to, and then, whether or not personality traits are a really big one. Because character artists incorporate personality traits into their work. So if you have a character that's brooding, or if you have a character that's bubbly, that can really impact how the drawing will look in the end. So that's important. Colors. A color palette is always really necessary for describing work to somebody. A color palette takes the direction, or it takes. So a color palette and personality are two of the biggest impacts. And thank you for the follow, Natural Born A-Hole. Love the name, by the way. But yeah, just go into as much detail as possible. There's really nothing that you can say that isn't worth saying, 10 and 20. 13. 13's always a good number. Oh, thanks for the donation. I really, really appreciate it. Holy crap. That marks the first donation this stream has ever gotten, so thank you a whole bunch. Number one reason to go to art school is definitely networking. Especially, I know whenever I went, I had professors, too, that were in the industry. And that's the beauty. That's, I think, the difference about professors in art college as opposed to normal college. Is a lot of the professors in art school are actively in the industry and can help you out doing a whole bunch, getting started. That's what they're there for. Like I said, with my freelance work, it's gone directions I never thought. But I've gotten to do some really fun projects too. And even the projects that I don't like it's far outweighed the projects that I do, and finding people in different realms of art can really help you with the projects you never thought you'd do. One of the things I hated was if you didn't, it seemed like an insult to graphic design. If you didn't have a good enough portfolio to get into animation or game design, which were two of the programs that I was in, or I was in animation, but two of the programs that they offered at the school. If you weren't good enough to get into either of those programs, they sent you into graphic design, as if graphic design was any easier. And that caused a lot of kids to fail out because, they couldn't handle it. And I always hated that. One of the biggest reasons to go to an art school, I'd feel, besides networking, would be learning new programs and learning new ways of doing art. So when you're in high school, you really don't know, like, you think you know what goes into stuff, but it opens up a whole new world. Like, I've learned stuff about game design that I never even considered was a thing, like how even though you may learn all these different techniques and different programs, most likely you're only going to use one of them. And you're going to want to single that out, but you still have to learn all the other stuff, just in case that's what you want to do. At least if you're going for a bachelor's like I did. If you're going for a associate's, you do get to narrow down immediately, which is nice. But going for a master's in art school, by the way, absolutely useless. There's there's absolutely no reason, unless you're going to teach it. If you are not going to teach it, then going for a master's is basically just showing off. Like, I didn't have to go. You don't have to go to art school to get a job in the art field. In fact, a lot of people don't. But I think art school really does help you in the areas. So it helps you in the areas that you lack. Like, some people, learning it on your own takes a lot longer than having someone teaching it to you, at least in my opinion. But I mean, these days there's stuff like Skillshare, and I know Pluralsight is a big one that I feel like a lot of people don't know about, but it is a little bit more expensive, but I feel like the quality is a lot better than Skillshare. But yeah, new programs. New programs are great. I've learned so many programs. Photoshop being the one that most people use, no matter what art field you're in. But, learning ZBrush has been a life changer for me, because it's the main program I use now. But I learned Autodesk Maya, 3ds Max, and a few other ones, but they're ones I don't use anymore, like rendering programs and other animation programs like Toon Boom. But that's a huge benefit, because it can introduce you to things that you would have never thought to look for yourself. I think that's probably the biggest, one of the largest reasons to go to any art school, is learning things that you wouldn't think to learn on your own. So, like, it's one thing to have an idea of what you want to do and then go out and learn that thing, but it's another thing to learn something you never even knew was a possibility. Like, when I went to art school, I went for 2D animation. That was my goal. I wanted to be a 2D character artist. And then somewhere in my third quarter is when I was introduced to 3D programs, and 3D programs just changed my whole life. It was incredible. I fell in love with it from the first moment, and it completely changed my course on what I wanted to follow. I still ended up doing character art, but it ended up being 3D character art, which is a whole different world. But I'm really glad I learned the 2D stuff too, because I still love to draw. I still love to do stuff in Photoshop and everything. So it's really convenient to know both. Oh, skill sets. That's another one. So yeah, number 3 would be definitely skill sets. So I mean, that could fall into the programs category, but definitely. So one of the things that I learned in art school that most people don't learn when they're learning stuff on their own is the ability to critique. And it seems strange, because you're kind of just, I don't know, you're learning how to trash somebody else's art essentially, but you're doing it in a way that's constructive. So constructive criticism was a huge bonus, and being in an environment where there's just so many other artists doing so many different styles, and you learning how to properly see what they did wrong and them seeing what you did wrong is just, there's nothing to replace it. A lot of people are scared of critique, but I think because I went to college or art school, it helped me come to terms with critique and made it so much easier to handle like constructive criticism. Because anytime criticism is done well, there's no replacement for it. Because I think, especially going to your artist's friends for networking, like after you've networked with them, you like having them critique your work. It'll help you skyrocket your success in art. I mean, it really is just one of the most irreplaceable things you can have. And I don't think you really get that on your own, you know? So that's definitely one point into the art school category. So, like, along with critique, learning the fundamentals is also just irreplaceable. Because even though I don't use graphic design often, it's still, I mean, the fundamentals of design are in everything, and it's really hard to become a successful artist without knowing perspective and design. And that might be something, say, if you're looking for tutorials on how to do character design and, or what have you, any form of art you're looking into. If you're looking for tutorials, it might not be, they might not show that. They will show you tips and tricks on the program you're using and learning the fundamentals is one of those things. I feel there's a lot of YouTubers now that are doing it really well. Oh, Mark Brunette, that's what it is. Yeah, he does art school streams on YouTube, which is really nice. But he's a great person for learning the fundamentals of art. Especially, I love that he does 2D and 3D a lot like myself. It's hard to find people who do that. I mean, anyone can be an artist. I feel like there's a lot of misconceptions that you have to have some innate talent. And to a certain extent, that can be true. I mean, it gets you further faster. But, I mean, ultimately, it's really just practice. There's nothing stopping you. All you got to do is practice. And you might get discouraged sometimes, but all you got to do is keep going. If it's something you really like to do, then there's no reason you can't. Probably something else to go into the networking category, because I mean, besides teachers and other students that you're working with, alumni are just incredible. Like, I've met some amazing people who graduated who still are active in the still really active in the school, and they have helped me tremendously as well. I mean, especially early on, making friends with those people are just, it's great. You get to learn, because then you get to talk to people who are actually in the industry. Like, I remember one time they had an alumni dinner that I was invited to, and I got to meet a character artist and an environment artist for Bethesda, and that were currently working on, I think at the time they were working on Fallout 4, I want to say. But they were just some of the coolest people I ever met. Then they helped me a lot. I got to show them my work, they critiqued me, and it was nice. So that's another hat in the bucket for art school, for sure. Meeting alumni. I mean, between teachers, the people that you are actually going to school with, and alumni, meeting like-minded people. Now, this is less helpful for your art and more just helpful for your well-being. Something I would say is I know a lot of people who enjoy art and nerdy stuff. They have issues in high school. I was definitely one of them. I was made fun of a ton, and I had a very small group of friends that I, relied on for pretty much everything. But going to college, especially an art college, with a bunch of people who want to do the same thing that you do, did wonders for me making friends and my mental health. That was really incredible because you get to meet people like you know, and sometimes it can be really easy to feel like you're alone in the world. And I think going to school can really, like, with people who want to do the same thing as you, can really help you with that. And anything that helps with mental health is a win in my book. The last reason to go to art school, I mean, and this is more of just a reason to go to college in general. Just like college life, you know, there's nothing really like living in a dorm room, a shitty concrete box with 4 other people in a tight space that you argue with and become best friends with, and, you know, just have so many adventures with it. I mean, it's really something else. I feel like the college experience is, like I've said many times already, wouldn't trade it for the world. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are a lot of really shitty things that happen in college, and, you know, not all of it's sunshine and rainbows, for sure, but all in all, I feel like the experience was a win. But for it to be a win, you have to take advantage of it, you know? If you don't catch what's right in front of you, you know? I mean, like, you could go to college and not have any of those good experiences because you're just not looking. And that's a shame. Anytime you see just a shred of opportunity, reach out and take it. Like, you know, capitalize on that shit. Do your research. Do whatever you can. I mean, I think this year has been a huge testament to, you know, life's short. So do whatever you can to make that life just awesome. That is the top 5 reasons why you should go to art school and what the benefits are. I will see you in the next video. Don't forget to check out the Twitch channel at twitch.tv/schonhoffart, and stay creative. Bye.